Hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've got an unproven player that's really turning heads, and that unproven player is rookie Peyton Wilson. And I just want to start with something. When a veteran player goes out of his way to talk about a rookie, we should take notice on that, right? And he's been turning heads, earning praise from his teammates. And one of those teammates is fellow inside linebacker Patrick Queen. And let's hear it directly from him. Peyton's a great guy, a great teammate. Edgy guy, very cool, calm, demeanor guy, but on the football field, he just turns into a whole nother animal. And that description of personality sounds like one of your other Steeler players you all know and love, right? TJ Watt? That's a big comparison, but honestly, Queen looks like the quarterback of this defense. He really enjoys playing with this kid already, and I think his words should carry some weight on how Wilson is thought of on this team. And this is Sports Talk Steelers. I'm Sean. Hey, really young channel. It helps me out so much if you not only like, but you hit that subscribe button. That helps me continue doing this. I'm part of a sports talk team. We have a bunch of NFL teams covered. We love covering the NFL. I'm primarily a Bears fan, intimately aware of who Justin Fields is. And hey, I wanted to expand into Pittsburgh Steeler territory, give you guys some impartial coverage, and I hope it's really helpful. So if you love the material, like and subscribe, but I will always be a dyed in the wool Bears fan. So let's keep going here. So looking at this Pittsburgh Steelers team, to me, Peyton Wilson is one of the top players to watch in Steelers preseason football, especially during this opener against the Texans specifically. I'm going to go to source on stillcurtain.com. You guys, what a great source. Read this article in its entirety. So when you last heard from me, when you hear me on this channel, defense is looking to be the key to a successful Steelers season. I mean, but while making that point, highlighting particular players that can lead the way to that success, I think it's super important. And I think there's different criteria behind each selection to talk about. It might vary on opponent and week, but I think that's what really points to Peyton Wilson being a player that really needs some love, needs some hype, because he's a player that's going to be really instrumental to the Pittsburgh Steelers' success this year. So we're kind of looking at he has kind of a troublesome injury history, but the NC State linebacker, he presented himself as an intimidator on the football field. I really like the style in which he plays, and a third-round pick, I think that's really good. But on top of being brought on the team with a third-round pick, he was Pittsburgh's first grab for the defensive side of the ball. And I mean, maybe that doesn't fall solely on how skilled he is, but the moment that Wilson's name was called, Steelers articles, they were popping up left and right, all saying the same thing. He's an absolutely perfect addition to this defense. And let's kind of look at that for a little bit. I mean, this is a really versatile player. He's going to fit in somewhere. He's going to, at the very least, provide increased linebacker depth here. At the time of taking him, though, there was a lot of talk, and I'm just going to go straight to some of the talk and stop rambling here. Let's kind of flesh that out formally here. This is the draft night perspective. The Pittsburgh Steelers added their first defensive player of the 2024 NFL draft, and they did that selecting North Carolina State linebacker Peyton Wilson with their first third-round pick, and that was at number 84 overall. And to talk about it a little more, the Steelers, they added 3 offensive players to start the draft, right? You guys know that. Washington offensive tackle Fatanu, West Virginia center Zach Frazier. Man, what a steal he was to get both of those dudes. And then they top it off with University of Michigan wide receiver Roman Wilson, straight off a national championship. So now they headed directly to the other side of the ball after that influx of offensive talent, and they added at inside linebacker. What are you getting with Wilson? 6'4", 235-pound linebacker, but he ran a 4.4 40-yard dash at the combine. And during his time at NC State, his stats for his career, 402 tackles, 48 tackles for a loss, 15 sacks, 7 interceptions, 13 pass deflections, 2 fumble recoveries, and a partridge in a pear tree, right? But add a forced fumble onto that, and sorry, I'm a dork. So Wilson comes to Pittsburgh with an opportunity to earn instant playing time, and despite the addition of Patrick Queen in free agency, he's going to be the quarterback of this defense. There's no timeline on the return of Cole Holcomb. That's really unfortunate. And we're looking at Wilson heading into training camp with a shot to actually compete for playing time with Landon Roberts and Mark Robinson as well. And the hope that he rises up the depth chart really quickly as the third option at linebacker in Pittsburgh. That's what I want to see here. So kind of looking at this game specifically, it's kind of an interesting question to ask. What's it about this opener against Houston in particular that makes it the best preseason player to watch? And I think similarly to all that we've touched up on this point, the answer is pretty straightforward. If you look at Houston, top flight offense in Houston stresses the defense at every single level. And I think we should be able to get a clue on how Wilson is in coverage. I mean, the Texans are running out the starters for this game, and this trio of wide receivers, that's going to challenge every single aspect of this defense. And here's the direct report on this happening as far as what the Texans are intending. Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans, he told reporters that starters will play in preseason week 1 against the Steelers. And when he spoke to reporters on Monday, DeMeco Ryans said that the starters will see snaps against the Steelers in preseason week 1. And this is a direct quote. You'll just have to go through and play live reps of football before September. You'll see our ones go out and get reps this week against Pittsburgh. So, I mean, how long the starters will remain in the game, that remains to be seen. But it's nice to see it being now evident that we'll see him on the field against the Steelers. And I'm actually excited to see how Wilson in particular stacks up against these guys. So we can watch for his coverage underneath and run support. That's simple, right? This is a nice matchup to get an eye test here. And this obviously won't be some huge statement game that'll tell us absolutely everything that we need to know about Wilson. I mean, we don't even have confirmation of what he's going to do in the game, how much he's going to play. Just a fantastic opportunity for Pittsburgh Steelers fans to get a better idea of who he is. And if what's been seen about him is any indication, it's going to be fun to watch. I also want to see how quickly Coach T, how Coach Mike Tomlin, how he starts, where he is on giving him actual meaningful reps, because Coach T has shown a hesitancy to do so. I mean, if he ascends up the depth chart quickly, it means that he's really something here. And it's also a matter of if he simply just comes out in certain packages to start as well. I mean, if you look at last year, the history of Coach Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got highly touted rookie, a dynasty player, right? A legacy, Joey Porter Jr. He started out on defense with a role in the team's dime package only. And then it kind of seems that linebacker Peyton Wilson, he might head for a similar trajectory this year. He might follow the same path. And maybe he just starts out as a dime linebacker as Queen and Roberts start. Even if that's what we see, excuse me, absolutely huge, because this linebacker room is very deep. And even that's a great initial sign if that happens. He was the club's Porter was the club's second round selection. He started out behind veterans Patrick Peterson and Levi Wallace at outside cornerback. That left the dime cornerback role for Porter, and it wasn't necessarily the biggest role to start. And I'm just doing this to manage expectations on what Wilson might be, because you might see him play very little in this game and be like, Sean, what's up? I thought he was a player to watch. So if you look at what Porter did, he saw just 7 snaps of the defense in the team's season opener against San Fran, and this was last fall. But very quickly, he moved from there. He started by replacing Wallace after a minor injury. I think that was in week 3. But by the end of the year, Porter passed Peterson, passed Wallace on the depth chart, and became this team's true number 1 corner. And he ended up following the team's number 1 wide receivers and did really well. And this is to hear from Porter. I feel like I was already ready. Just that confidence I had that I was always ready. But it worked out best how they did it. it's a long season. It was way different than college. Just getting that as a rookie and understanding that, I feel like it was probably the best decision. So now I'm sure he didn't like it at first, only starting in dime packages, but Porter kind of sees the wisdom of this, and this is kind of some of the brilliance of Mike Tomlin. It's not stubbornness, it's not hesitancy. He just really knows how to develop players, and this is to hear it from Wilson. It's just awesome to have the trust from the coaches to be in a position to play man coverage, and just the trust that they've put in me. This is a good sign. Obviously, it's challenging. You're going to go up against the best in the world. Just continue to get better every day. Continue to learn the defense, continue to be able to fly around and make plays. And I just kind of think from a skill set standpoint, the role of a dime linebacker, a little bit different than playing on first and second downs, but it's a job more about coverage and speed. It's not all about toughness and physicality or size. He still needs to bulk up a little bit. And I just think it really suits Wilson's game just fine right now to play in the dime, and then to let the other guys do the heavy lifting. And kind of looking at his background, this is through NCStateathletics.com. It's not that the guy isn't tough. We're looking at a former high school wrestler. He did everything on defense at NC State. He moved out to the edge to rush a passer at times. So he is versatile, but he seems just fine with leaning on his speed and athleticism to make his first debut at the NFL level. And I'm just going to leave you with one more quote from him. It's definitely a new age of linebackers. You've got to be able to run and cover, especially in this defense. I'm super excited for it. Sometimes I have to line up against George Pickens, Scotty Miller. It's a challenge. It's just me getting better every day, and iron sharpens iron. If I can do it against these guys, I'm pretty sure I can do it against anyone. So maybe we're looking at, just like Porter, he's going to see his role grow throughout the season, maybe start just in dime packages. Queen, if he gets a day off on Saturday, it's been a tough camp. Maybe Wilson will be elevated to the starting roster, and I would absolutely love to see that. And I would love to see Wilson elevated. He's also replaced Roberts in the nickel package at times so far during camp. So, I mean, kind of the sky's the limit for this guy. At the very least, he's a really good depth piece at the very least. But at best, if there's an injury, this is a versatile piece that can really pay dividends for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's been a long day. I might have caught myself saying Willis instead of Wilson a couple times. If I did that, please give me some grace. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. So I just want to give you guys good coverage and make sure I'm on here every day. So you guys look at this. Future's bright for this third-round rookie. It appears that, like Porter before him, he might just start out in the dime in kind of limited reps, but I think regardless, it's a really good sign how Queen is starting to talk about him and how he is really getting stitched up into the fabric of this team. You guys, it's been great doing this channel so far. Continue to hit the subscribe button. Continue giving you really good impartial coverage on this team that you guys know and love. And I'll talk to you soon. Preseason against the Texans will be here before you know it. See ya.